Hi, thank you so much for joining me on Market Matters with Adriana. And I have Robert Adam here of Midwest Certified Insurance Agency. Hi, Robert.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank
today.
you so much for joining our show and our video series. So today we'll be talking about insurance. And how long have you been in the insurance field?
So I've been in the insurance business since 2006. I was a independent broker for about a little bit over 11 years, close to 11 years before I came on board here at Midwest Certified. So prior to that, I was in the industry prior with a couple of other agencies as well. So
nice. So what brought you into the insurance business out of anything else you could have done?
Well, I actually started in this business right out of college. The industry kind of found me, and I did not. I wasn't planning on actually going into this industry, but just things happen.
Life finds a way to.
Life does find a way.
I love it.
And yeah, that's how it happened. So yeah, and I love it. I love it. It's been a great adventure. So
That's
these
amazing.
last 16 years. So
Wonderful. Well, Midwest Certified Insurance Agency, where we are now, we're doing this interview right in your headquarters. They have been around 30 years?
no, we actually just celebrated our 50th anniversary.
50, okay.
Yep.
I think I
this
saw
past year.
I saw anniversary signs coming in. So they specify what are the different fields?
Well, we are a full lines insurance agency. We offer products in with all lines of insurance, everything from auto, homeowners, business workers' compensation,
Nice.
health insurance, individual, group, and Medicare as well.
Okay,
So,
amazing.
yeah.
So today specifically, I'd like to talk about homeowners and consumers and what are the main areas of insurance to consider. Let's say that you already own a home, and now you're looking to own a second home.
Okay.
What should you be looking at?
Well, you need to look for, obviously, number one, with the way the market is right now, it's probably also a good time to maybe even start re-looking at your policy because of because inflation does affect the way costs are as far as when you have to rebuild your house. So, and insurance companies do take a look at that. When it comes to secondary homes, there's a couple different things that you can do. It really depends on what you're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
Are you looking to add a vacation house? Are you looking for a seasonal home? Or are you looking for a home for investment?
So let's talk about getting a vacation house that you don't plan to rent out. So you own your primary residence, which has home insurance, property insurance, and now you're looking at a vacation home that just you are going to use. In that case, what kind of insurance?
Well, a lot of carriers will actually, offer maybe coverage if you have a primary policy with a carrier. They will look to see to extend coverage for that secondary home as well. As well as maybe an important fact is to also make sure you have an umbrella policy in place though too.
Umbrella policy.
Because the liability will go over the home, both properties as well. So.
Okay. And then what if you get a secondary home that you do plan on renting out, like an Airbnb, VRBO, something like that?
It really, number one, it really comes down to, is it just yourself that's doing that? Or do you have a corporation set up or an LLC set up as well? A lot of carriers will, a lot of what we see for secondary homes for people that are renting properties out, they're just, independent, like just sole proprietors. So we would recommend obviously going with a personal homeowner's policy.
Personal, but then if it's a business and you incorporated it into an LLC, does that make a difference?
Yeah, LLC would also be along the lines of personal lines. When it really becomes really an issue when it's a corporation. So there's certain
like guidelines that insurance carriers
you might have to go to a commercial to a commercial policy.
Oh, okay.
As well.
So then it goes into commercial,
Right.
into the commercial realm. Okay.
The other thing as well, if you are planning to rent out that home as well, on the personal lines is that you want to more or less look for something along the lines of a tenant. It's a landlord policy as well. So
even though you're just renting for a short amount of time,
yes, even though if
one
if you
night
own
or
it,
2 nights at a time,
well, if you own it,
then you're a landlord to anybody.
yes.
Got it. So landlord, and the landlord policy would benefit you obviously with more protection.
Yeah, there's more protection in there as well. Particularly if you're renting it out to somebody that, if there's an agreement in place for that person to come in as well. So, you know, to rent from you. And then I would highly recommend that that person on top of it has their own, renter's policy as well. So.
Okay. So we've talked about secondary homes. Now let's talk about primary homes. We have a lot of buyers in the market that are just going from having rented for a number of years to being homeowners for the first time. What's your advice for them?
For new homeowners? So, number one, when it comes to buying a new home, a lot of questions that we get is, well, you know, the market value of this house is so and so much, so I have to insure for that much. The majority of the insurance companies do not look at market value.
They look at replacement cost, right?
Replacement cost, exactly.
Okay.
So
replacement cost is what it would take to rebuild a home in the event of
a catastrophic loss, right?
Okay. So what's the advice then, to not necessarily just look at market value, but look at what it would take to rebuild that home?
Right.
And totally basic question, but I do want to ask it. Does the lot get insured, or it's just the property on the lot?
They're looking at the property, at the structure itself.
Okay, so if someone were to buy land, they wouldn't get insurance, correct? For land.
Well, there's certain endorsements, depending on are you talking about if it's a farm or for instance?
Yeah, like if someone were to buy a property a piece of land that eventually they'd like to build a property on, does that piece of land not get insured until the property is built on it, or?
You can put liability. Yes, there's a liability policy that you can put on that if it's a
so
vacant
anyone
land,
who walks the land.
Yeah.
So
right.
that anyone who walks the land, if something were to befall on them, then they would then be
right. And then if you're
insured.
planning to build a structure there would be. I mean, you would put a builder's risk policy in place, which would just ensure as the structure is going up.
Yes.
And it would work in conjunction with your contractors that you bring in, that they have their, they have a liability as well, and so you want to kind of, build that, put those security measures in place. Yeah.
Good. Tell us about bundling. Is bundling always the best thing to do? Come to one primary source and have it all taken under that umbrella, or?
Well, every carrier offers it. Number one.
So it keeps you competitive in the market.
It does. And as well as they have, they all have their own little different discounts. A lot of carriers do want to. They like to have everything: the home and the auto, umbrella.
Every driver in the house.
Every driver in the house, the seasonal home as well. If it's a rental property as well, they would like to have that and bundle it together. The boat, RV
that you're renting, the rowboats.
Yes. Jet skis, everything.
It's so funny, but now that we have a cabin, I never had to worry about this, but the previous owner mentioned to us that it's very easy for someone to sink the rowboat. And I felt like, what do you have to do? But when we tried to turn over the rowboat to get the water out of the rowboat, and that's, by the way, don't do it by turning the rowboat upside down.
Right.
You can get the water out 1,000 ways without turning the rowboat over, but we were obviously right by the shore, but that thing will sink in no time. So there's insurance for everything.
No, absolutely. And a lot of times with those rowboats or smaller boats as well, the carriers already offer certain protection for a specific boat, a specific size, usually about 25 feet.
Okay.
So that you can just add on to or it's included in your homeowner's policy. So,
got it.
Yeah.
So something to turn the direction of the conversation, something that's really sparked my interest has been, as knowing you for a number of years now, is that you carry insurance for events.
Yes.
And festivals.
Yes, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So we actually, I started doing this a couple of years ago with, we're both part of the Winnetka
Chamber.
Northfield Glencoe Chamber of Commerce. We started a couple of years ago insuring their music festival. Yes, we do that.
I think that's tremendously interesting. Tell us about it. Like, what's involved with that?
Well, there's, it's a lot of it is designing a plan to protect, not only the chamber but the village as well, and the park district. There's a lot of planning that goes in between all three,
Okay. All of three, all of the entities.
All three
the park
entities, yes.
District, the chamber, and then the organizers of the festival.
Right. As well as we also insure the rock bands, too.
Rock bands,
as well.
Wow,
So,
that's
yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah.
then do you do like big parties? Do you insure parties
Yes,
also?
we insure parties. There's special events policies for parties if you're planning to have a party.
Mm-hmm.
There are weddings.
Wow,
As
okay.
well, or festivals as well. There's all kinds of different programs that can.
Yeah, so things that people don't think about, obviously you never want anything to go wrong,
Right.
but in the event things do go wrong, you can have that event covered or that
Absolutely.
specific. So what else would you like to talk about that I haven't already asked you? I know there's such a depth of information.
Well, also I just want to add when it comes to homeowners policies,
Yes.
just a couple of and particularly for the new homeowners buyer, or for the new homeowner buyer or somebody that currently has a policy. There's a couple of endorsements that maybe your carrier offers or that there's other companies out there that offer.
Mm-hmm.
One is sewer and drainage coverage. So
Sewer and drainage. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if and a lot of people, I mean, we get a lot of questions asked about, we have water backup or water seepage into the basement. Is it covered? So remember this: if water is backed up, if you have a sewer and drainage endorsement on your homeowner's policy, and water is backs up via the pipes, that's where sewer and drainage coverage comes in place. If the water is seeping in through the through the foundation, it is considered flood.
So if it's coming from the outside because the water table is raised due to high raining and
Right.
then it's flood insurance.
Yeah.
But if it's coming in from the inside system of the house, the pipes,
The pipes. If it backs up
plumbing,
via the pipes, it's the sewer and drainage.
So
That's where a lot of people get. People get kind of confused with that, and then we get calls that this is considered. The carrier.
It's water.
Yeah, the carrier
Why
considers
isn't
it
it flood?
water, or it's considered this is considered flood, and if you don't have a flood policy or if you're not in a flood plain, it's not. There's no coverage.
Okay, so always make sure you add to your home because you never know what can happen. I know
Right.
there are homes, and particularly in one area that I sell, that's a suburb of the city of Chicago. So in that suburb, which will remain nameless,
I have an idea. I have a feeling I know which suburb it is.
yes. So
Yes.
like every single homeowner who
Does it
was,
start with a D?
it actually starts with an O.
Oh, okay.
But
That's another one that I was
right, so every single homeowner that is right by the city of Chicago, that they did backflow preventers. They installed backflow preventers for their sewer system.
Right.
But then 1.5 block, the homeowners that I know, they didn't know to do this, and so all of a sudden they had now sewer backup, not flooding because it wasn't. I mean, obviously it's caused by a lot of rain. But as the water table rises, it did. So it was a backflow preventer issue. So even though they didn't need flood insurance, this insurance would have helped. So how does the insurance then kick in at the time if you do have it?
So if you do have sewer and drainage backup, if it's obviously you call the carrier. They send somebody out to take a look, and if it's determined that it came up via the pipes. We're backed up via the pipes, then
it's covered.
there's coverage in place, yeah.
How quickly can someone get insurance through Midwest if they call you?
We can do it. It usually takes us probably at the most maybe 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like you effective immediately. So
Yeah, we can make it effective immediately, or you know, depending on if there's an effect. If there's a new homeowner that's, you know, purchasing a new house when they're planning to move in and when they're planning to take over that home, we can put the policy into place. We can also work with the mortgagee company on it
yes,
to make
that
sure
was
that's mortgagee billed as well, or if the homeowner wants to pay, you know.
put it in place.
Right.
So from the real estate side, we know that if there's a mortgage in place, they will always request a couple of weeks before the closing, they would request who your carrier will be. So you'll have the homeowner's insurance requirement for the mortgage. But if you're buying in cash, then you will be very well advised to get that policy in place way before your closing date. So everything.
Absolutely.
And remember to do the sewer and backup.
Sewer and backup. There's some other ones though too. You know, to keep note of. Utility line.
Utility line. Tell us about that.
So there's you know, quite a few companies that offer utility line insurance where it's basically covers, you know, you do the utility lines that go into your home, whether it's sewage, whether it's electric, whether it's even telecommunications. If
So like cable.
If that is disrupted in any way, let's say for instance you have a sewer line and there's a tree root that grows into the middle that into that line and it causes disruption. I mean, you're held accountable for that. So there is a coverage in place because that has to be dug up, that has to be repaired.
So your general, so let's say a typical home, I'm just going to pull a number out of thin air, but let's say a typical home per year will be $1,200 a year homeowners insurance coverage. Do you have, in these instances, have to say specifically, I would also like sewer backup?
Yes.
I would also like utility line. So
Yes.
on a $1,200 general approximate payment, how much does that extra coverage, how much would it cost?
It depends on the company. It really comes down to the carrier.
But could it be like $60 or $600?
It can be you know, it's you know, again, it's the company that determines that.
Okay. And I guess my question is sort of directed towards, is it worth it to have that extra stuff in place because it's totally when you need it?
From what we've seen, yes. There's also another coverage I was going to mention though too, which was going to be equipment breakdown, which covers your HVAC systems. Or
wow, okay, and that's beyond the home warranty.
And that's more like a home warranty, yeah. And a lot of carriers have begun offering that as well, or building it into their policies as well.
What I've seen with a lot of my consumers, my homeowners, they go in there, they get the home warranty. I have one in mind right now in particular that I'm thinking of. They requested, we negotiated the home warranty with the package on the purchase for my client, and then sure enough something broke, the furnace broke, and then the home warranty came in, and they're like, well, because it broke in this way, we're not on the hook for it.
Right. I mean, was this via connected to their insurance company, or was this a separate home warranty?
It was a home warranty package offered by the seller's realtor, negotiated into the contract by the seller's realtor.
You need to read the print.
I know. Now we know.
You need to read the print on those.
So what you're saying is that if you get that component negotiated through your insurance,
you know, you can also, you know, request your agent maybe to send you a copy of the amendment just to kind of get an idea what it covers exactly as well.
And you here at Midwest Certified Insurance Agency, you're willing to look over and discuss with a client even if they're not
yes.
So as they're considering going with you.
Yeah, I mean we offer complimentary reviews.
Okay, perfect.
You know, I highly recommend them, particularly around this time now with the way inflation is and everything, because, you know, make sure that you are properly covered.
How is this time in the economy different than, and why would you particularly now recommend it over any other time in the market?
As of right now, the reason being is obviously inflation, the cost of goods.
Of goods.
With the, you know, I mean, if there's a catastrophic loss, you have to rebuild your home. The cost of wood, the cost of bricks, the cost of labor has gone up so much.
Yes.
So it's a good time to just reevaluate it, if anything. And just, you know, I mean, a lot of these, I mean, the reviews that we offer, like I said, are complimentary. So, you know, as well. But, you know, and every company is always, you know, they're always adjusting their, you know, their rates, particularly with inflation. So.
Also, if you feel like you're paying a certain amount for insurance that you're uncomfortable with, you can reach out to Robert and they can review your entire package and
Absolutely.
help you to understand if this is something that you could save by going with them and anything like that, correct?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, give us your information for the audience. So why don't you give us your email and then website and then a phone if you wish.
Sure. If you have any questions, you can reach me at my phone number is 847-631-6622. That's the direct line. You can write me an email at robert@midwestga, G as in George, A as in Apple.com. If you want to find out more about us, you can just Google us at www.midwestcertified.com.
MidwestCertified.com. That's awesome. And then final question, which is completely not related to the topic, is I always ask my interviewees. I ask if they have a favorite book, podcast, movie, anything that they're listening to that they recommend for the audience that's not necessarily related to what you do. Any show that you've been watching that is of particular interest or delight?
As far as TV shows, I haven't had a chance. I have a 4.5-year-old at home, so
Nice.
I haven't been able to watch TV that much, except for kids shows. All I can recommend is Daniel Tiger.
Daniel Tiger.
I mean, my son
What's
watches that
Daniel
all the time.
Tiger?
All the time. So
It's your son's favorite show?
He just constantly wants to watch that all the time. So
Awesome.
But as far as movies, I mean, I really enjoyed the last Top Gun movie. That was really good.
I saw that twice
Yeah.
in like a matter of 3 days.
Actually, I saw it twice too. So
Oh, it was so good.
I took my wife, and then I took my dad when he was in town too. So,
Yes, we're always trying, my husband and I are always trying to identify family members or friends who haven't seen it so we can go see it again. Oh, that's a great,
And my
great
dad
movie.
is he just turned 80, and he's like, that's the best movie I've ever seen.
I know. If you have a need for speed,
Yeah.
watch Top Gun. Well,
That's right.
thank you, Robert, so much for being interviewed today. We really appreciate an insight and an insider perspective on all things insurance. We wish you all the best.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
Yeah, and we
So,
wish Midwest Certified Insurance Agency 50 more years of success in
Absolutely.
the Midwest insurance
Absolutely.
market. Thank you.
Thank you so much.